Welcome to the series on Microsoft Access for Historians. In this new video, I'm going to show you how to append tables. Append means to add two things together. So I'm going to start with this example. So here we have something that I call source A and source B, but it could be also user A, user B, table A, table B. What it means is that we have the same type of information or roughly the same information about a given people, and we have it separated in two tables because of different processes. It could be that because part of the data was typed by one person and the other by another. It could be because they come from different parishes, from different sources, but for some reason we need to have them in the same table. So what we do is just make these as two small tables into one, where we have an additional column where we know if something came from source A or if something came from source B. So, and we call this append. So normally we don't do this in just one step, we use several. So, but let me show you with an example how this works out in reality. So we have, let me go here, we have here two files, text 2017. This is the one that we've been working so far, but I've cleaned so that we only have now one table that is called people, and see that it has some information, some ID, and then, I typed this Barb. And then we have test 2017 or person. And then we have the same exact thing, but something type by not Barb. In fact, this is the same file, we just didn't change in the data entry type, but for you to get a sense of what we do. So when, for some reason, we want to be able to analyze these two sources together, they refer to the same population, but one I have typed myself and the other I have gotten someone else to do it. So what we do first is that we could try to do it see that this is one database and this is another database. And the first thing that we need to do is make sure that we're not going to mess whatever happens in this table or in this other table. So we're going to create a new database to merge the two of them, to append them. And so then we create a blank database and then say combine test 2017. And then we just save it in the right place. In this particular case, let me find my course. And then I create it. It is completely blank and we don't need table 1 for now. First thing, we need to bring the data. So we select an external data, bring in access, and we just select what we want to get from. So again, we need to go to our folder, and then I'm going to import first text 2017, and then I go OK, and then I could import several things if there were more, but I can import just only the thing that I want, people. And then I close and see that it comes people. It is from the table that's called test 2017, and it's done by Barb. So what I can do just to differentiate them is just to rename it, and then that's the table people that was typed by Barb. Okay, and I do the same process with the other file. So I go access, browse, and then this other one. Okay, I select. You see the table is called the same, so it was a good idea that I changed the name. And then okay, people, and I'm gonna rename it to other. Good. So now I could append one to the other, but I'm just going to show you how to do it in the best possible way so that you don't have problems afterwards. So where is this let's just take the first one, go to design view, and then what we're going to do is just copy the information here, and we just close it. And then we create a new table. So I have copied the structure, so it was very important that I copy it when I am in design view. And now I'm gonna create a same table, and then I'm gonna copy the information that I got from before. So I make sure that the type of information is the same. And of course I write ID, and then I make an auto number. And I make it the primary key as always. You'll think like, but wait, Barbara, but people Barb and people other, they already have their own primary ID. And that's right. So let me just close this and then we'll see why we're doing this. So I'm just gonna change, of course, save it, and then combine table. See, the question with combine table, it is just completely empty and it has its own ID. But what happens with the IDs of the other ones? So see, people Barb and people other, they actually have the same ID. That is why I have created an ID here. So because we need to keep each of these records have a unique ID, and we have a number 1 here and number 1 here. But what I can do just to keep that earlier ID, just let me just close all these things, is just to make a space for it. So we can make old ID, and then we say that it is a number. So what we're doing is creating the framework, the table, where we are gonna get all the 2 tables in. This one is empty, and we're gonna fill it up with the contents of the other. But now we have a space for the ID, and we have a space for old ID. Let me get started. So we create a query design, as always, and we start with the people Barb, first one. That's the one that I typed, and then we put all the records in. Just check. It's 9 records. And now this is when we start doing things. So remember that for update, we selected update. So for append, we do append. And then see that the program asks us for a table. So we have already created one, combine table. And then, so what we're going to put is the first of our tables in the framework we just created. So we say OK. And see that automatically Access knows the names of the things and assumes we're going to put things. But you have to be very careful because it wants to put ID into ID. But you have to remember that we have created a new ID that's going to be unique to the table. So in fact, ID from the table Barb goes to old ID. Okay? And then we hit run and we append 9 rows. Then we save the basis, save object. So Barb to append table. Cool. And then let's see what's happened. So combine table we have an old ID, have these 9 records, typed by Barb, and then they have a new ID number. Now we do exactly the same thing with the other one, query design, and we use people author, and then it's just exactly the same thing that we did before. So we just check, this is not Barb, and then we append. Where do we append? To the table we just created and appended. Combine table again. Okay, Access does the same, so we need to tell it no, put it to old ID, and then we run it. Yes, and then we save it. 1 second. I don't remember how I named it, so I'm just gonna not Barb to append table. Then we can fix the names afterwards. Okay, that's close enough. So let's see what's happened. So we go now to combine table, and we have now 18 records. This is the bit that comes from the not Barb table, and this is the bit from Barb. What we have created now is a new ID by putting the autonumeric that fills it up on its own, but we also have kept the old ID. It may be handy for something else, so it is always good to bring any kind of ID that all the tables may have. And that is what we do. This is what append tables are for. They have many other uses that we'll see in later videos. But you have to be very careful when you have append queries in, because what happens if we do this? The query is already set up and it tells us to put people Barb into the combined table. So I'm going to do this, but I'm just going to make a mistake by doing that, so you know what I'm doing. So I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to append 9 rows. So what do you think has happened? We have executed again a query that appends the content of people Barb into combined table, but we had already done that. So what we in fact have created is a duplication of Barb. See, this is as far as we were. This is the right data, and then we have done it again. So as with update queries, once you've done them, it is important that you keep them where they are, but it is important that you do not click on them accidentally, because then you could just be generating wrong things in the data, and in this case problematic. So I'm just gonna take them away, but so you know that this is how they look like. And that is all for updating.